Hello everyone. Today is Monday, December 3rd. It's 1:27. It's about 2.5 hours before the regular session closed. And you can see my computer clock on my right here and the time in sales, the E-mini S&P currently trading at 2787.75. And it was a really great day today. I have a great video to show you, but first I want to show something that's really interesting in the history of blue wave trading. I want to bring this up in here just a second. Okay, so this date on this post here, this is from the NinjaTrader forum, 2009. This is almost 10 years ago, March of 2009. The BWT indicators came out in 2007, and this post from the NinjaTrader forum, which is no longer online, they took it down, but I happened to make a screenshot of it. This is a glowing endorsement of the BWT indicators by Mike Bolter, who is the creator of Big Mike's Trading, now Futures.io. Anyway, this is what he wrote way back when Mike was a Blue Wave client. This was before he started the Big Mike Trading Forum, and he was a client of ours. And at this time in 2009, we had the trading room, which was run by Ed Abreu, and Ed had this, training thing that he called the acid test that went with how to use our indicators. But anyway, this post here, if you read it, I'm going to leave it up here, and certainly you can freeze the video. But once again, this Big Mike from Big Mike's Trading said a long time ago, yes, I would recommend the indicators. Yes, I would recommend the room membership for at least 2 months. We don't have the room anymore. I'm just not into that. It's not what I do. Yes, BWT makes up 90% of the indicators I use personally. He says, no, it's not a perfect system, and you can still lose money. Of course, that's true of any kind of trading. And no, I don't believe you can get 20 points a day like Ed says in his blog post. Well, today the volatility is twice that. So even if that were 10 points a day back then, that much might be possible today. That depends on your trading skill and your commitment to trading, but I just thought it was interesting to bring this up. It shows our indicators were really widely accepted and pretty much very popular before the ecosystem came into play, which was later in the year 2009, from 2007 to 2009. There was only a few vendors. Blue Wave Trading was one of the first third-party add-on developers that partnered with NinjaTrader back in 2007. The BWT Precision Indicators were created in 2005 in TradeStation, and that was long before some popular look-alike indicators. And then, many indicators and trading methods kind of took on our look in NinjaTrader after that. So I just thought y'all might find this interesting. First up is the DAX, 3587 today. This is the Superenco 14 tick with the higher goal, and I dropped it from 5,500, 3,500 as volatility has kind of leveled off a bit. So I dropped this back to 3,500 and a 2250 loss limit. So this hit its goal and had positive slippage. And so it was kind of sideways going in the beginning, a losing trade here, winner, loser, winner, and some mixed losers here. So it was kind of a grind to the top and hit its goal, kind of late into the U.S. session. But anyway, it hit its goal plus positive slippage. Okay, this is the DAX on a 34 Heikin-Ashi tick chart, and I have a higher time frame filter on this. The higher time frame filter is a Superenco 8. And so you can see it kind of smooths out the background pretty well, and a couple of really nice trades here. A very minor drawdown, only about 125 per contract or so. Anyway, this did 2,087. The goal on this is 2,150. So I suspect we came to our goal and exited with some slippage. But really stellar trade here with the higher time frame background coinciding, and probably exiting on our trailing stop, which is volatility stop up to 60 ticks, which are these hash marks, and then trailing by percentage profit 75 and 25, and I suspect we made 90 ticks and then only trailed by 10%, which would be 9 ticks plus a 2-tick offset, or trailing by 11 ticks, probably got hit down here. So that was pretty well timed and excellent performance here. Nice ratio between the profit target and loss limit. Okay, next is the DAX on a Superenko 16 tick, and this again started off a little bit rough, drew down $1,400, 700 per contract, and then kind of clawed its way back. And what was interesting is the market had gapped up over the weekend, and then they kind of sold it off. And so here's a tight shot of the equity curve. And then if I make this a little bit wider, you can see we had two back-to-back winners, and that brought us to a little over 2,000 for the day, and our goal on this is 3,500. Okay, I screwed up on a section of the video, so I'm having to record this a little bit later. It's now 3:30 in the market, so it's a couple of hours afterwards. A portion of the video had no sound, so I have to record these charts over. So anyway, next up is the DAX on a 150 Heikin-Ashi tick chart, and this did 1625 for the day. It drew down about $700 or $350 per contract. The goal on this is 2550, so shy of its goal. Percent trail stop and a limit order of 8-tick pullback. So still pretty nice trading on this chart. Looks like it made an equity high here of 2,000 and then settled in at 1625. Okay, next is the DAX on a 34 Heikin-Ashi chart, and this has a higher time frame filter of a Superenko 8, and also is a limit order with a 4-tick pullback, trading 2 contracts and a goal of 2150. So this came just shy of its goal, but really nice trades here, exiting near the low here. Now that was made possible by looking at our trade management. We're first trailing our stop by the volatility stop, which is the little hash marks, and then with our tiered trailing stop, I tightened up the stop, trailing by 25% at 75 ticks, and then at 90 ticks, trailing by only 10%. And I think that's what allowed us to get this really great exit down near the swing low here. So this is one way to do it. You could trail by bars, but percentage trailing stop is always based on the max profit achieved. So if the market dropped suddenly, had a spike downward, you would get the benefit of tightening that trailing stop. Often a tight percentage trailing stop here is can be less than a bar, for example. Okay, next is the E-mini S&P on a Superenko 6-tick, and this drew down about 750 per contract, but this one's trading 3 contracts. So the drawdown was only really about 250 per contract, and we have a goal here of 1,300, a limit order at the close of the bar. This is also using our line break logic, so this did pretty good, came up and hit its goal, and it had 2 ticks of positive slippage. Okay, the crude oil on a Superenko 7-tick did 1,200 for the day. The goal on this chart is 1,200, so it hit its goal without any slippage. It's a limit order, minus 4 ticks, and just trailing by bars after 35 ticks. Okay, the E-mini S&P on a Superenko 4-tick, trading 2 contracts with a higher time frame filter of Superenko 6, has a goal of 1,050 but finished at 1,350, so we had really strong positive slippage here. The higher time frame again showing some consistency on this chart. We've seen it quite a bit. Okay, next up is the E-mini S&P on a Superenko 4-tick, and this drew down only about $225, so really only 100 per contract. If you're wondering why I show charts of the same bar type and time frame, is to show the versatility of the Autotrader and show that you don't need very particular settings to have a winning chart. In other words, different settings on a Super Inco 4 tick can perform really well. And it also shows that it's not that difficult to make settings that'll show winning charts. This one is only trading 2 contracts instead of 3, and I got fixed targets of 40 and 80 and $1,000 goal, and different trail stop setup. And also on this one, the trend sensitivity is 1, whereas the Super Inco with the higher time frame, I have a really tight sensitivity of 0.618, and that's to get me into the trade sooner on the swings, is the idea of that. So I'm trying to show that you can have different settings for the same type of chart, and it can still turn out very well. This has been a really consistent chart for us, the E-mini S&P Super Inco 4 tick. Okay, the E-mini S&P on a 5-minute chart had an equity high of 1,700 and then had a losing trade here, got stopped out. But this chart is using our moving average filter. And so notice I have this set here, and it's a 14-period EMA, and you can see the EMA here. And this is a really good example of the moving average filter keeping us from getting into this trade here. I also have the precision trend exit set at 0, so we don't exit just because we have a blue bar. This kind of strategy, where sell on red, buy on blue, is not so simple. There needs to be certain filters for certain trade situations. In any case, this had a pretty strong equity high and then had this losing trade and got stopped out, unfortunately. Okay, the DAX on a Super Inco 16 tick did 2,037 for the day. This had a drawdown of 1,400 or 700 per contract, and the goal on this is 3,500, so shy of its goal, but still a solid performance. Okay, the DAX on a Super Inco 8 tick with a other time frame filter of Super Inco 6 did pretty good here. This has a goal of 1,500, so we obviously hit our goal and had some slippage. And a very nice trade placement here, getting out near the swing low on both the short and the long. Okay, the E-mini S&P on a Super Inco 6 tick. This one is trading 3 contracts with fixed targets at 20 and 40 ticks, and then trailing by 0 bars, -5 ticks. In any case, it looks like it hit its goal here on the 3 contracts at 1,200 and had really solid positive slippage. The market must have been dropping fast at this point in time. Okay, the crude oil on a Super Inco 6 tick did 720 for the day. It didn't have any negative drawdown. The goal on this is 1,000. It's trading 2 contracts with a limit order. Okay, the NASDAQ on a 1597 Heikin-Ashi chart had a single trade here. This is trading 2 contracts, but this has a limit fill with an 8-tick pullback, which is probably why we didn't get filled on some of these other trades here. And this has a goal of 1510, so it well shy of its goal, but still finished positive for the day. Okay, the crude oil in a Super Inco 8 tick did 1,020, and I believe the goal is 1,020. These are 2 trades back to back. This is using our line break logic, and you see the equity curve here. This has been a super consistent chart for us, and so here's our goal of 1,020. It's a limit order with a 2-tick pullback, and first target is 28 ticks, then trailing by bars. This has worked out pretty well, and we've seen this chart quite a bit, so pretty nice performance today. Okay, the E-mini S&P on a 1597 Heikin-Ashi tick chart, and this did 975 for the day. This has a limit order with only a 3-tick pullback versus the NASDAQ with that 8-tick pullback, and so easier to get filled with lower ticks offset here. This has a goal of 1,000, so we probably hit our goal and had a tick slippage per contract. One and done on this chart. Okay, the E-mini S&P on a Super Renko 4-tick chart, and this is a limit order with a 1-tick pullback and a $1,000 goal, trading 2 contracts. And so this came just shy of its goal. It had a loser and a winner here and finished at 850 for the day. Okay, the E-mini S&P on just a regular 5 Renko chart. This has a higher time frame of Super Renko 6 and a goal of only $800, trading 2 contracts, a limit order with a 4-tick pullback. That's just 1 tick less than a bar size, because often you get this kind of action here. So if you do, you can get filled. So this did 450 for the day, but the good news is that this chart has been really consistent. Just a regular 5 Renko chart can work really well. The higher time frame filter can keep you from getting filled on bars like this that would be potentially a whipsaw. This is also filtered out by the trend indicator, keeping these bars red. If this was just a plain Renko chart, these bars would be a reversal in the other direction. That's all for today's video. Thanks.